My always advice to all the fresher or all the employees is that only commit what you can deliver, only put the data which you can justify or which you can properly give your answer to in the interview. So I always tell the employees that you promise less, deliver more. But the moment anything which you have hidden, if the employee is in a position to find it out, your authenticity level, your credibility goes down significantly. And your most important CV should reflect what you have actually done rather than what you are supposed to do, because employer already knows about it. And within that, if you have achieved anything, it would be icing on the cake. So the question is the 3 mistakes which normally employees make in their resume. So first and foremost, normally in order to impress the interviewer or the employer, most of the employees, what they do is they put too much of data or they commit too much of things in the resume, which eventually when the interview is taken by the interviewer, they are not able to justify it. So my always advice to all the fresher or all the employees is that only commit what you can deliver, only put the data which you can justify or which you can properly give your answer to in the interview. And eventually if you crack the interview, when you get the job also, you should be in a position that whatever you have committed in the interview, you should be in a position to fulfill all those commitments. So ideally, when Infosys, the company is always known for underpromise, higher delivery. So I always tell the employees that you promise less, deliver more. It will always increase your brand equity. It will always have more authenticity. And then after 6 months of your performance or your initial impression, people or your employer will take you very, very seriously, because when you promise 60% and when you deliver 80%, that brand equity will increase, and that will always help you to win the confidence of your employer, and eventually you will start getting quality work day after the other. So this is one of the most important mistakes, and this is how we can rectify. Second is they should be transparent. So the most important thing is they hide too much of data. So sometimes the education qualification is not there. Sometimes the most important thing is they hide the breaks, the job breaks. Now what happens is, any employer, we are living in a tech savvy world. So eventually the employers are smart enough, they eventually find out that you have some break in the job and that you have not justified. The moment anything which you have hidden, if the employer is in a position to find it out, your authenticity level, your credibility goes down significantly. And what happens is, even though you are really good in your job, but if you lose the trust at the interview stage itself, then it will be a big no-no for the employer. So even if, let's say, you are very good at your job and you eventually crack the job also, but that element of doubt is always there in the minds of the employer. So, and then to rectify that mistake, it takes a huge amount of effort. So rather, I always say that, see, at the end of the day, your employer see your CV. It is your brand endorsement that this is how it, and then on the basis of that CV only, he or she decides whether to go for the interview of yours or not. So your CV or your resume should be such, it should reflect your personality. And the most important aspect is that it has to be authenticated. It's okay if you are 80 out of 100, if you are 70 out of 100, but if you are authentic, if you are fair, if you are transparent, it will have the great initial impact in the mind of the employer, and eventually the chances of you cracking the job, cracking the interview and cracking the job would be significantly higher. So this is the second thing in terms of, if you have to put one word, it is the authenticity. And the third and one of the very important thing is that, see, there are a lot of job descriptions or the how the resume writing has to be there. They are available in the market. So normally, many of the employees, what they do before they approach the interviewer, they are quite aware about the job description, because typically it is shared with the employee first. So normally they design their CV in such a way that most of the keywords of that particular job description comes into your resume. Now, ideally, see, when employer decides whether to go for a particular employee or not, they should, so normally employees, what they do, they write the duties or what they are supposed to do rather than what they have actually done or what are their actual achievements. So the KPIs are very important, but employer knows it in advance that what should be the key performance indicator. So your resume or employee's resume should not only contain the KPI, but actually it should actually contain what you have done on those KPIs in your previous jobs. And if there is any instances where you have really achieved something, that should be part of the resume. So most of the people in order to just copy and paste the ideal job description or the ideal role what it should be. They just copy and paste those data, but then eventually when the interview asks for it, they are not in a position to justify, or rather they just keep on focusing what it should be rather than what it is. So your CV should reflect what you have actually done rather than what we are supposed to do, because employer already knows about it, and within that, if you have achieved anything, it would be icing on the cake. So that is how you should address it. It should be what you have actually done to wrap it up rather than what it should be, and within that, if you have achieved anything, any significant achievement, any milestone, that should be part of the resume, and you should be in a position to justify that during the interview process. So that is how you can counter this.